This video is sponsored by Odor Cleanse. Today I want to talk about my 5 favorite pieces of backpacking clothing. These are pieces of clothing that I come back to again and again, and I may purchase a new piece of clothing, but it's the exact same style and brand because I just find that it works well for me. And so some of these I've mentioned before when I've done backpacking clothing videos, be it 3-season loadout or winter backpacking clothing, and those are up in the cards. But I kind of wanted to pick out 5 pieces of gear that are kind of my go-to. So first of all, let's start with the more intimate side of things and talk about underwear. And so most of these things most of these clothing items you'll see a common theme, which is synthetics. I have tried more natural fabrics. So for example, a lot of people love smart wool or wool in general. Wool tends to be pricier and it's just put me off a little bit. You have a hard time finding budget wool items, I think, in terms of clothing. But underwear, you guys all know I use, and I'm gonna be discreet, guys. I use the Ex Officio pair of underwear, and they do work really well. I'm a big fan of them, but we just talked about expense and how expensive that is. One option that I would recommend are the Champion brand. And before I got the Ex Officio underwear, the Champion brand is probably one of my favorite ones. It's relatively inexpensive, but the key is synthetic, and you don't realize how much underwear really matters until you've had a really hard lesson in chafing. And that's not a fun lesson to learn at all. And so when you start with that more intimate side of things, you're thinking about underwear, and you have a lot of friction going on for some people, for me at least, sometimes between your legs when you're talking about walking uphill, downhill, whatever it is, just day after day after day. You want something that's going to kind of stay somewhat clean, dry quickly, as well as kind of stop any chafing from going on or anything like that happening. The nice thing about the Ex Officio, it costs a little bit more, but it supposedly is antimicrobial, and so that means minimal bacterial growth is the hope. But the big key for me between these 2 pieces of underwear are quick drying. And so I usually will take 2 pair on my trips, and what I do, let me know if this is TMI, what I do is I wear 1 pair and I wash the other one when it's been used. And it dries really quickly, put it on my backpack or lay it on the sun. If there's no sun, it can still dry fairly well. I hang it on the ridgeline in my hammock and dry it off that way if it's rainy, and by switch them on and off. So there's that, underwear. Oh, I know I've mentioned this before. The Dry Power 360 shirts, I think these are sold on Amazon and at Walmart as well, but they're really inexpensive, and I love these things. I usually will get the black. I'm actually wearing, I think, a yellow version of this shirt, and it's synthetic as well. Short sleeve is what I've learned to go with. I think they do make a long sleeve version, but the reason I end up going with short sleeves is I feel like it just does enough. I feel like I get too hot if I'm wearing long sleeves while backpacking. Even in the winter, I will actually wear this as my base layer, just because you're regulating temperatures in the winter. You want to make sure you don't sweat, and this does a nice job of keeping the sweat off of you. But this is probably one of my favorite pieces. I think I have maybe 7 or 8 of these Dry Power t-shirts. Number 3, and this has been with me for a while now, are these Polar Max silks, because it's not really silk. Silk is a lot more expensive than this. This is just a lightweight sleep shirt, and I use it in terms of 3 seasons. So I'll have this under a puffy jacket when I wake up in the morning, and I feel perfectly warm. And 3 seasons is what this can do. In the summer, I probably will switch this out to something even lighter, like a Dry Power type t-shirt. But the Polar Max shirts are really good, and the best thing is that it's so light, and so it's not something that will take up a lot of room in your pack or a lot of weight in your pack. When you're totaling up your ounces, grams, pounds, kilograms, whatever it is, you'll realize how much weight your clothes actually take. Be it a beanie, be it sleeping clothes, and you think to yourself, oh, all I do is sleep in that. Can't I get the lightest thing possible? Because it's not something that needs a lot of wear and tear or have to resist a lot of that. So it can be something that's honestly ultralight. And I guess I do have to say this, all these articles of clothing are purchased by me. No one else has an outside influence on the clothing that I'm purchasing here. Wright socks, W-R-I-G-H-T. These are fantastic, and you've heard me mention them before. If you're like me, Darn Tough did not work for me. I got constant hot spots, constant blisters after only a day of hiking, and I thought, enough, I'm not trying this anymore. And I came across these. All these is they're a double layer sock, and so hopefully the idea is that the friction is between those two layers of socks and not your sock and your boot or your shoe. So hopefully the idea is to minimize blisters. They also have a lifetime guarantee. I've had one that developed a hole in, I think, the outer layer, and so I just put it in an envelope with a stamp on it, sent it back for their warranty claim, and they sent me back another pair. So that was really, really easy. And I think that's fantastic customer service. I'm pretty sure they're in North Carolina. I think that's where I sent the ruined pair of socks to, and I haven't had another pair with an issue after however many miles I've done so far. And then I guess you would call it iconic. My iconic shirts at this point, iconic for me. And you see I just do two different blue colors at this point. I change them out depending on when they get worn out or when they stink so bad I can't stand it and it can't be saved. These are the Columbia Silver Ridge shirts, and you've seen this in all my videos probably since practically the start of this channel. And one of the big things I love about this is the button-up sleeves. I kind of roll or unroll the sleeves kind of on the fly. Subaru Josh makes fun of me because he says I'm looking ready for a school board meeting or something, or a parent-teacher conference. And I have no reason to use anything else. They dry super quickly. They do a nice job of protecting me from the sun. This has an SPF rating of it. I don't remember what the SPF rating is. They shed water well. They look really good. They come in colors that I like, and they're not too expensive. They're not a Patagonia shirt or anything like that, but it works very well for me. So those are my 5 favorite pieces of backpacking clothes, hands down. Now, a common theme that you'll notice throughout this entire thing, especially since I use synthetic fabrics, is that these articles of clothing tend to stink after a while. It just takes a day and a half or so. And even after I come back from backpacking trips, I find that it continues to smell even after washing. I mean, there have been times where I've washed articles of clothing twice, 3 times, just to try to get the smell out, and I feel like it never really goes away. And so I was a little skeptical when I was approached by Odor Cleanse to try out their laundry additive, but I thought, okay, I'll have to give it a try. And so what I did is, since there are multiple shirts that I use on backpacking clothes, what I tried to do is I tried to compare backpacking clothes that I have washed multiple times, and I washed it once more in regular laundry detergent. It still kind of smelled funky. Those of you guys who are going backpacking know that smell. It just hangs around. And then I gave a try to the Odor Cleanse laundry additive, and I'm really happy to report I was super skeptical, but it worked well for me. Someone in a previous comment did mention that an odor reducer may help in terms of a laundry additive. I didn't really believe them, and I'm really glad that Odor Cleanse decided to sponsor this video, and I got a chance to try them out. And I can see myself using Odor Cleanse pretty much every time after a longer backpacking trip. There's a link in the description if you're interested in checking out Odor Cleanse. Let me know how it works for you. It's something that I guess I didn't really think about. I just thought I had to deal with the smell after backpacking trips. I'm glad to know that I don't have to. So of course, I always want to know, what are your pieces of backpacking clothing that you consider your go-to, that you go back to every time, and maybe you have multiple of that piece of clothing hanging in your closet. What is it? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.